The month honoring Japanese car culture is here in Motorfest, and we have our very first summit, the Japanese Big Four. Let's go. Real quick before I get into the video, if you're looking for a community of racers to play with, join our Discord. There's a link in the description down below. That's also where I do all of my giveaways, and we have every topic in there from the Crew Motorfest, the Crew 2, to Need for Speed Heat, Need for Speed Unbound, everything Need for Speed, and all kinds of other racing games. There's over 14,000 members there, so hit that link and join us. All right, let's get into this. All right, first up, let's talk about the cars that you're going to need for this summit. The best thing to do is actually purchase the summit bundle. You're going to get the Kawasaki GP Z900R Ninja. You're going to get the Yamaha VMAX 1700 and the Suzuki GSX RR. One of those is the racing bike, the Suzuki. The other two are Street 2s. I also recommend purchasing the Honda CBR 1000 RR SP2. It comes in very handy for one of the events. It's one of the fastest bikes in the game, if not the fastest, and it works out very, very well. Now, as far as pro settings go for these vehicles, I have a confession. I did everything on the default pro settings and the default controller settings. This stuff worked out perfectly fine for me. Bikes seem to be pretty easy to control and didn't really need a whole lot of messing with the pro settings or any of the controller settings. I'm on default, everything, it worked out really well. So anyway, let's get to the keys to the summit. The key to this summit is an AFFIX bonus called Bended. This AFFIX allows the rider to lean faster and at a greater angle, providing a quicker, tighter turning radius, which is 100% necessary in order to get high scores this week. Just like last summit, it is highly recommended to max this bonus out. To do so, first head to your legend points by going to the profile, then driver, then legend points. The AFFIX you're looking for is on the vehicle tab. Hopefully you have enough points to put a full 40 points into Bended. If not, you can earn 15 more legend points for this month by leveling up your main stage progression tracks. Each one will give you 5 legend points. If you have enough points from last month's rewards, you should also max out your pure AFFIX to give you an extra 10% nitro power. In addition to that, I recommend re-rolling your AFFIX on your parts as well. The perfect situation is to have a full set of Nitro Chemist parts with pure and bended as your AFFIXs. This whole setup should give you a total of 66% bended and 45% pure. Trust me, this helps a ton. Before I get into the specific events, it's highly recommended to have a slipstream partner for basically this entire summit. You get an incredible speed boost when you're racing close to one another, aka slipstreaming each other. All right, let's get into the events. The very first one is called Passion and Power with the Suzuki GSX RR racing bike. At 20%, you can cut the grass on the right. Although I executed it really poorly in this video, it's still faster than taking the street. Make sure you have NOS for this one, as you will need it to maintain speed through the grass. There's also a small corner cut at 48%. That just helps you maintain speed on that turn. It's a little too sharp to go full speed. If you take it at the right angle, it's an easy corner cut. At 67%, there is a huge jump cut to the left. It's a very tough cut because the angle going up the hill really doesn't allow you to see where you're lining it up at. My suggestion is to use the mini-map and the rock at the top of the hill as your guide. It took me quite a while to do this a second time for this video recording. The first time I found it, I made the jump almost flawlessly, and it was an insane time, but I wasn't recording. So rip to that run. And lastly, at 94%, you can cut on the grass to the left. This actually helps you cut out one of the corners and sets you up pretty nicely for the straight going into the finish line. All right, let's head out to the next event, Joy and Excitement, using the Kawasaki GP-Z900R Ninja. The thing that made the biggest difference for me on this one was not overdriving this course. It's super easy to head into these switchbacks with way too much speed. Just slow down before the corners and accelerate through them. I know that sounds like really generic advice, but wait until you drive the course. It's kind of deceiving how sharp and how slow you have to take these corners. All right, let's get to the cuts. At 35%, you can cut left across the grass, and you can do it again at 69%. You can cut across the grass, but slow down a little bit for this one. I ended up in that bridge wall way too many times. And then right when you pass the bridge at 75%, you can cut the grass corner again, And that's pretty much it for this event. Moving on to perfection and greatness with the Suzuki GSX RR racing bike again. This one has quite a few cuts in it, and it's a lapped race. So I'm just gonna let my second lap play in its entirety for you so you can see the lines that I took, and then we can move on. Alright, moving on to power and freedom with the Suzuki GSX RR racing bike once again. This is maybe my least favorite event for the entire summit. It's wet, so the grip is limited, and the course is closed, so there aren't any shortcuts to find. Speed and braking control is super important, as many of these turns require precision to take at a faster pace. I think this event might cause a lot of you guys trouble, especially some of the more casual or less skilled players. But with practice, I know you guys can get better and better times. Just keep at it. All right, moving on to the speed and efficiency with the Yamaha VMAX. Now this one does have a few cuts in it. They're not like super crazy cuts, but they are helpful. I was able to get a world record on this when I did the recording. However, I think somebody snagged that back from me within a couple of hours. But anyway, here are the cuts. The first cut is at 11% to the right across the grass. And the next one is just like that at 48% across the grass to the right. And then when you get farther down the road at 72%, there's another cut, although I could have probably cut this harder than you're seeing in the video. And the last one for this race is at 91%. You cut to the left, kind of just beeline it for the next couple of checkpoints and try to make sure you have some NOS for this, because if not, this actually might be slower than taking the road. In this clip, I have a full tank of NOS set up and ready to go for that cut. All right, the last event is called Drive and Elation with the Honda CBR 1000 RR SP2. This is the race where we recommend that CBR. There are only a couple of things that you need to know about this one. The first is don't touch the walls. It kills your speed like crazy. The second is you need a slipstream partner to have a very good time. And the last thing is you need to know which side of the tunnels and which side of the forks that you're going to be on. So here's what you need to do. You need to take the left fork at 11%, and then you take the right side going into the tunnel at 18%. And then you take the right side at 32%, and the left side at 37%. That's going to be the fastest path through this. As you can see, my time is very close to basically everyone in the top 10 because everyone is slipstreaming and everyone is basically at top speed the entire race. All right, let's move on to the feats. For the escape, a hypercar is definitely best. Most of the people in the top 10 are using them, so whichever hypercar you feel most comfortable driving, use that. I recommend using the 110 or the Revuelto, or even the Agera R if you're comfortable with that car. The path I'm taking in the video is for people without nitrochemists like me, and it will get you around 112,000 points, which is plenty enough for this summit. The world record path is slightly different, but the game does show you the ghost of that person if you're interested in trying it. It's just significantly harder to get more distance. However, if you can manage to get through that first part of the city section quickly, then the potential is actually higher with that path. All right, moving on to the slalom. Now I chose to use a motorcycle for this slalom because the traffic is so bad for this. It just helped me avoid them by being a smaller target. Remember, you need to have a full set of score breaker parts in order to get double your score, and make sure you have the AFFIX stat called skilled completely maxed out on every single part you have and on all of your legend points. And finally, let's look at the speed trap. This one's pretty simple. You got to use a drag car and find a slipstream partner. The fastest speeds in the game are being set using the Proto Dragster or the Corvette Stingray, so I'd recommend one of those. But basically, if you don't have Nitrochemist with Pure and Frenetic, and you don't have a slipstream partner, you're just gonna have to be happy with what you get. It's hard to maximize your score when you don't have those two things. My score really isn't the best on this one, just like last week, because my drag parts are pretty low. I'm gonna need to grind those this week in order to get that score up, but it is what it is at this point in the game. You can't have legendary sets of everything unless you're crazy and you've grinded the entire game. So anyway, that's it for this one, guys. If you have any questions, send me a DM on Instagram, Twitter, or Discord. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helps. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.